So Sorin, first of all, thank you for being with us for the second year in a row. And now we'd like to get your insights from this today and this week.
Okay, well, as a good nerd, I have taken a few notes, and I would like to share my main takeaways with you, the kernels of wisdom that I would sort of try to put to good use back home. GDPR, it's the most hated European export item of the year. I had thought it was cars, something that Mr. Trump is particularly passionate about, but no, it's the GDPR. But it's also a success story, obviously, as a major export item. Now, more seriously, it is indeed changing, and I'm quoting quite a bit, so you would not ask about the individual copyright, but I'm sort of quoting from the wisdom that was imparted here. It's changing the global mentality about privacy. It was an important spark, I think, for a major conversation that we have during this day and age, which is also leading, I believe, in the end to legitimizing the digital era. It's saving individual autonomy and perhaps democracy. They may seem as big words, but I believe it's again, an important conversation of this age. Rosie, the robot maid will be droned over to your house by Amazon Prime by 2025. And Apple will dissolve Visa and MasterCard in 5 years by launching their own products. Two of the major predictions that were made here, which could really disrupt quite a bit of economy and society as we know them. The Bitcoin ETF is likely to be approved by the end of September, also given some appointment by President Trump. There's something positive about President Trump during this conversation as well. A few remarks by Tim Draper. PMs fighting over attracting ICOs to their countries. Unfortunately, I know at least one country in Europe which is extremely conservative about blockchain, my own, and that doesn't seem to be changing. And Malta could one day have 1 billion e-citizens. I mean, this is truly a fascinating idea, and Estonia has been approaching this possibility of being a service provider for hundreds of millions of people. If nations, public services can be offered to a global citizenship, which would have some form of attachment to one particular service provider or country, and again, Estonia with its e-residency program, and apparently Malta too, are thinking in those terms. This is fabulous. This is a new form of maybe of building communities, of belonging, and doing that through digital means, and perhaps creating different types of nations. That's a space to be watched. The EU, I was happy to have a full update from my colleague and friend in the European Commission, Peteris. It's ICO friendly in a cautious way, but in a truly positive way. And we have looked at blockchain, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and other such technologies, which generally disrupt institutions that do not like to be disrupted, like the European Commission and any other bureaucracy. But in this case, given the vision and the wisdom of a number of key policy entrepreneurs within the Commission, I think we've made quite a bit of progress. But I take note of the sheer pessimism in one of the presentations, I would not dare pronounce the name, where Europe seems to have lost it completely in terms of seeing anything right about the future. I believe the truth is probably halfway in between, and we're not doing that bad. We're quite competitive in quite a number of areas, including policy. Robots are becoming a symbiotic extension of humans. Huge consequences there for the economic and social tissue of tomorrow. Now, how would social security, to the extent that we have some left, work? For example, how does the marketplace function, the labor marketplace, and labor legislation and labor relations and all sorts of insurance policies linked to that will need to change dramatically. So the nature of the state, welfare or otherwise, will change in time as well. So all in all, I think the quote to conclude is, innovation is challenging the democratic machine of our states, of our societies. I believe blockchain may have a significant role in helping us reinvent relations or the relationship between the citizenry and the institutions through decentralization and through more autonomous governance, where individuals will play a more important role. The same for privacy. I believe blockchain is a way to have a much more balanced relationship and with citizens being able to control their data and to control the way they may monetize their own data rather than other companies or giant companies monetizing it on their behalf. So that's another space to be watched. But this conflict, or this tension, I would say, which can lead to conflict and cooperation, as in the case of Lyme with local authorities on urban mobility. This constructive dialectic, if you wish, I could use a Marxist term or a Hegelian term, between a technology challenging the old establishment and ways of doing things, and the policy community having to adapt to it and to use it to provide more services to the community it serves. I think this is the major dialectic and conversation of this day and age, and it's just great to be part of it. Thank you. This was a great experience for me.